Howdy, kumquat. I've been meaning to do a video like this for a really long time. It's like honestly such a strange phenomenon of witnessing people's resistance to talking about this book. And so I've just hesitated because I've just been like, I don't get it. But, honestly, I do get it because I've just been reflecting on why it was such a significant book for me. And, I'm no stranger to self-help and spiritual stuff. I mean, I have a lot of Scorpio placements in my chart, getting into like sex, death, transformation, rebirth. Like that is like Scorpio material. We like the via transformativa. But that said, it's still, very challenging to be confronted with, lies that you've internalized. I do have the incense going, so you'll see the smoke. I'm trying to keep the mosquitoes away. And also, it's energy clearing. I love incense. I find the smells intoxicating. But, even something like that, like the fact that I had to go through a period of really giving myself permission for an indulgence, like incense, and just being like, yes, it's just something I love. I had so many weird blocks and resistances to my own joy for so long. And so I just want to talk about this. I have done some reflecting on like the major lasting lessons. So I did this book, and I say did the book because it's a self-guided course. It's a program. It's a 12-step program, 12 weeks. And, that's a great amount of time to change a habit and make a new one and get it to stick. And, a lot of the things are now just how I am. I don't even think about it. Although I am considering doing this course again because it's always good. It's been 9 years since I did it. I did it twice back to back. So I did two, it was 24 weeks. I was at a rough place, when I finally did it. And it's so funny because even back then I had this book, I was a painting student in college. I had this on my shelf. I glanced through it and I was like, yeah. It just looked all like soft and squishy and a bunch of crap that I was like, no, I'd rather just suffer. That's okay. Thanks. And so it just, it was literally like one of those books that you're like, yeah, I'm going to get to it. It was sat on my bookshelf. 10 years at a minimum, probably more like 15. And then, I got divorced. I had a horrible year of processing and grieving, and I went hard that year. When my marriage and partnership and business partnership, it all ended. It was like, it had been like a 14-year thing and very much wrapped up with my identity, my livelihood. We performed together and that was our living. So it was like everything came crashing down at the same time that I won the Queen of Burlesque. So it was like, it was just very, very confusing that first year when we separated. And I was like, I never want to make this mistake again. And, that's like my precision, not letting up that Virgo. Like I had 2 therapists. I was going to an astrologer. I went to 2 different yoga studios. I was started studying magic stuff. Like it was just, I went hard. I was painting all the time. I would just cry into my watercolors and listen to Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, her Theater of the Imagination, which I should do another video on because that was so informative too. It's like you have those like few books and it's really good to like keep these mile markers and be like, wow, yeah, things really changed after that. Like that is an influential book. And so what happened was I had that whole year of trying to just heal like a lot of family. I was in Al-Anon and just like all of it. I was like dealing with my deep family and like, I was just codependency, abandonment issues, all of it. Like workaholism. I was just in there that year. And then I thought I was like coming to the end of it and I was just starting to feel better. And then I got clipped by a taxi cab walking, and it fucked up my knee. And I had to go, basically, I was living in Brooklyn at the time, and New York is like all stairs. And the doctor was like, I'd never broken a bone before. And I lots of muscle tears and things in circus school over the years and yoga and whatnot, but I'd never broken a bone. But he was like, if you just listen to me and do what I say, then it'll be fine. And he was like, you got to really stay off of it for 8 weeks. And he was like literally off of it, like not trying to act like life can go on. I was like, oh God, that's hard for a workaholic, right? But I recognized it. You know, I really wanted to heal fast and thoroughly. So I went back to Baltimore, where I'm from, and lived with my sister, my brother-in-law. And they took me in that summer, and I was like, well, you know that I'm bedridden, I guess it's finally time to do the artist way. And so I did. And it got me through that. And that's why it was so good. I immediately did it again. It was like that good. It was better than therapy. It was like, it just helped me. Like, I mean, in that 12 weeks, it was more than the year of healing I've been trying to desperately to do. So it just, you know, that was when it hit me in my life. I was like benched, and finally, you know, as a last resort, like picked it up. And I was like, oh my God. And I had been doing yoga. I was a yoga teacher. Hard for me at that point to like talk about God, but I recognized like the animating force and everything as being part of this like unified field, even though I didn't even have those words for it then, but I had that experience of it roughly. And even when I was working in nightclubs doing burlesque in New York City, I still had a very spiritual life. I was still going to yoga and like very, you know, trying to practice it in my way. And you know, I'm no stranger to the woo is what I'm saying, basically. But it was like, I even still in my own mind, you know, I had my spiritual life over here, and I had my like art and performing life over here. And they were just like two separate things that I was just like, I thought I was trying to reconcile them. And I was just trying to keep myself sane in the middle. And then I realized they're actually the same thing, that creativity is the spiritual practice. That is how we listen to spirit, capital S, and spirits. You know, that's how we start to develop our intuitive and psychic and empathic abilities, which I do believe we have. I know we all have experiences from childhood, super weird and woo experiences like that. And my actual experience as an adult is of getting those back. And this is why I'm always advocating for people to follow their dreams, because of this book, and to just prioritize love, to set fear aside, to just confront the thing you're scared of, and to look how you've been programmed, and that you have absorbed a lot of negativity that isn't yours to carry around, and you don't have to carry it around anymore. And it's so much more fun if you let it go. So I just feel like I'm always the one championing this book, because I'm like, well, you know, when my friends are going through a hard time, I'm like, you want the fastest way there, because it's not only going to help you move through the crap, literally clear all the clutter, it's going to refurnish the whole entire place in a way that you love and that fits you way better. So it's like, it's not just like an excavation project. It's also a building project, but does take down the foundation, makes you look at it again and see what kind of crap you've been planting and why it hasn't worked for you. So yeah, it's confronting, and you have to be like, wow, that's true. That's like me to a T, you know? I was such a codependent, workaholic, like doormat, you know? I just gave. And I had to just look at why I was doing that, you know? And how I wanted it to be different. So I'll just get into my lessons about this book, but let me just say I'm a little bit motivated to make this, because there are some people in my life who I feel like I'm always like, yeah, you should just do the artist way. And that I've been saying this to for years. And it's just hilarious to me, the extent, and I'm the same. So I'm not judging or saying I'm any different or better. I completely avoided the book myself in my own ways, but it's just funny when, I know that like my friends and people really value my advice and my opinion. And when I give it and it's like something they're resistant to, instead of looking at their resistance and just being like, yeah, maybe I should try it anyway, it's just like more resistance, and then piles of resistance. And then, oh, it's not convenient, it's not this. And then, oh, an injury just pops up out of nowhere. Now I can't do anything. It's like, and I'm just like, okay. All right, when you're ready in your own time, So, and we're all like that. But right now, I feel like one of the reasons I'm even considering redoing this whole book 9 years later, even though so many of the lessons are just ingrained in me now, is because like the world is changing so much. And, and I'm really, as an artist, like, I believe very much what the filmmaker Kurosawa said about artists. He said the artist's role is to not look away. And so it's like I do look at society and hold some dark truths to be self-evident, and still choose love and light, and am trying to navigate in the most graceful way possible to the world that we all actually want, that is full of reciprocity and interdependence, where it's not codependent. We all need each other. And that's how magic and synchronicity work. It's how it comes back online. It's like, it's just, a really deep collaboration with nature, with each other, with all that is. And that is the spiritual process, product, it's everything. It's that spirituality, right? Like, so, yeah, I'm just encouraging everyone right now to look for ways. So this is a really easy way to completely transform your life and get a whole new foundation built, a whole new thing under construction in your life. And I think we all need that right now, in a healthier relationship and a lot more balance. Okay, that's the opening. All right, 11 lasting gifts that I received from The Artist Way. And I'm saying lasting because they've been now 9 years later, things that I still do and that I really have internalized as truth. So number 1, morning pages help me more than therapy. And this is really true. One of the primary tools that she gives you in the book, that is really the primary practice, the main discipline of the book. There's a couple of disciplines involved, but this one is like, you write every morning for 20 minutes or 3 pages. And it's literally to dump your mind onto paper. You hand write. It's a different kind of relationship. It's not typing fast. We're so much in our head. We're so much in our thoughts all the time. And we actually start to think that we are our thoughts and that there are no other options, because our thoughts are just all right here and that's all we can see. So the process of literally taking a pen to paper and writing my thoughts down puts them somewhere else that I can look at them from the outside. So you dump your brain and then you end with affirmations. So then you're just like trying to get back. You get the crap out of the way and then you get back to the focus on the positive to lift up your energy. And it works, you guys. I have mountains of notebooks. I have maintained this practice. I recently fell off the practice because I had my show and I was relocating, trying to get my life set up again out here, and just moving, I think, is the most disruptive thing. It's hard to, maintain practices. So it's sort of like that, but I just went back to it because I was like, I miss this, taking like whatever 6 weeks off that I did. And this is after 9 years, you guys, like this is a pretty ingrained process. And also I was like, I'm also interested in not just the morning pages, but an evening, like just a record, like an actual diary of what happened, keeping track of synchronicities. But writing, doing that 20 minutes a day for so long turned me into a writer. I had a blog for 2 blogs over the past 5 years. I wrote so much. I could write several books out of the essays that are just in my blogs. I was writing tons of poetry. Songs started coming out, all to the point that I now consider myself a writer. So whatever, I've got air in my chart, and maybe it's easier for me with words and stuff like that. Maybe I gravitate to it naturally, but after doing the morning pages, I started calling myself a writer. Like, straight up, turned me into a writer. Number 2, it gives you permanent permission to play. And this always resonated with me because I'm a clown. That's the whole message of clowning and physical comedy, is that you're always in a state of curiosity and play and innocence. And then when you get into that state and you're in it with the audience, magic happens. And getting into a, childlike curiosity helps synchronicity to return. So it's like when we relax, that gets us into a nice, calm, receptive state, right? Where we're just like, anything can happen. Oh my gosh, look what's happening. And we're just enjoying the things as they're happening. And it's like, that is like real presence. So it gives you a permanent permission slip to play. And the more, in the clown world, they always say, find the game. And life is like that. It's like, find the little game. If I'm like organizing my little paints, I'm going to, I'm like, like still making it fun. You can get a lot accomplished as an adult and still maintain not a childish, but a childlike sense of play. It's effervescent. It lifts you up. It's like, find the little games. Okay. And then synchronicity starts playing with you too. And all the magic of the world, animals, bugs, you think trees are talking to you, because they are. And you start being able to hear them because you're just in an open state of play. Number 3, perfectionism is put in its place. I mean, I would say the top enemies, that I had to really confront, that as guided by the book to do so, were imposter syndrome and perfectionism. It could be argued that imposter syndrome is also related to perfectionism, and maybe that's really the only problem there is thinking that it has to be perfect or has to be whatever. It doesn't. Perfectionism is finally put in its place, which for me is in the back seat, sometimes the trunk, but it's not in the driver's seat and it's not in the passenger seat. It's just like back there. I definitely have a tendency to perfectionism that I have to constantly just be like, I'll just go into it naturally. And then I have to be like, stop. Are you obsessing? Can you just let it be? Is finished better than done? Yes, finish it. Okay. So wrestling with perfectionism was huge for me. This book got me leagues more advanced and more self-aware in regards to how perfectionism slows me down. Number 4, you learn to value quantity over quality. This is related to perfectionism, right? Excellence is a habit. It's not the destination. It's like you show up every day and you do your best. That's it. And you showing up every day and being consistent, maybe it's not every day, maybe it's twice a week, maybe it's whatever, however you want to mark the time, set your goals, but quantity, it's about showing up more frequently than it is about getting it right every time. Number 5, confronting fears, blocks, and resistances becomes easier. I would even say it becomes second nature, that if something starts to feel difficult, I immediately kind of go internal and scan for, where am I resisting? Where am I blocked? What am I afraid of? I immediately go inside and check in with myself. Where am I at with these things? Of course, fears crop up. Of course they do. And I have to look at them. Otherwise, they're just riding around on my back. I'm not trying to carry any dead weight, okay? We're trying to just be a nice, clean, clear channel for like all the joy and delight that wants to come through us, okay? So really, it's like showing up is the entire battle, I say all the time too. Number 6, see demons and monsters as teachers. So this is related to number 5, where we confronted our fears, blocks, and resistances, and it's gotten a lot easier. Now we can look at the demons and the monsters in our lives and our past, and first of all, we can decide that we don't want to engage with them anymore, but then we can reflect on the experience and see them as delivering huge lessons for us, often lessons in boundaries, often lessons in just knowing ourselves, knowing where our limits are, what we will and won't put up with. And so then you completely transform and dissolve what was drama and trauma, and it becomes a gift. It becomes a pearl of wisdom that you get to keep forever without all the drama and trauma. So it's like, you know, we go through all these things, and then there's a lesson in everything. So it's like just learning to look for it and just recognizing what those characters are in our lives. All right, number 7, a rich interior life. Number 7, let me start. Number 7, a rich interior life is life's best armor. And this has proven to be more true for me than anything, because the past few years, you know, we've all experienced losses of people because of beliefs, because of different values, because of behaviors, because of addictions, because of fear and isolation, separation, and that's, you know, all what we're all healing from. But the reason I didn't go totally crazy is because I have a very rich interior life. I can spend long periods of time alone and never get bored. I know how to go inside myself and find all the answers, all the entertainment, all the anything that I need. So cultivating a rich interior life, you know, which is self-reflective, but that could be through the arts. It's expressive, it's subtle, it carries the like potency and the like experience of deep emotion, deep experience, like the grit of life, and turns it into something poetic, you know, and that is the armor. That's the armor against the hard times in life. 8, there is no difference between the inner child and the soul self. And so because I'm a spiritual teacher and student, mainly in yoga traditions, but also I've studied Western esoteric traditions a little, I mean, for like 8 years, pretty seriously. But, you know, and like I said, I'm just wired to be into this stuff and spiritual stuff. But, you know, it took me a long time to go from being like, oh, the universe, and talking abstractly, just being like, that's God. That's God. God's inside me. God is the unifying force that we are all tapped into. We each have our drop of God sauce inside of us, and we get to carry it around in this vehicle. And then when we die, it goes back, and everyone gets to enjoy our experiences and lessons that we had here, because we're all in it together. So that's kind of like, you know, my spiritual philosophy and understanding through, there's a lot of kind of inner child work in this book where but through all of my other spiritual study, I really no longer see a difference between what like the psychology world calls the inner child and what the spiritual world would call the soul. You know, the soul is the drop of source sauce that I was talking about. But in our flavor, like it's all a combination of different elements. Some's more fiery, some's more watery, some's more airy, you know, and how it shows up in this material world and all of our unique expressions, like that all comes from our soul and our you know, they talk about shadow work, like the shadow isn't different from the inner child either. Shadow, I feel, is just like when our inner child, aka our soul, gets so frustrated and suppressed and just has kind of a rebellious hissy fit. And then it gets a little dark because you go off the rails because you're doing, you know, because you're looking for some sort of outlet for this frustration. And so when you actually take care of your inner child, which is taking care of your soul does not care about like the customs and protocols and politeness of like this earth body realm. Does not care at all. It wants what it wants when it wants it. And you have to parent that part of you. You have to be like, okay, I recognize that you have this great desire, you know, to sing, to perform, to dance, to feel free. And these are the limitations that we have right now, materially or whatever, and we're making steps towards that. And I see this, and I'm prioritizing it, and we're on track, and we're moving towards it. So it's kind of like this negotiation and a maturing of this like very impulsive, very innocent inner child, aka our soul, who needs us to experience joy and ourselves. Just be here, being ourselves fully, without a bunch of lies and parameters and like confinement. Number 9, and this is related, obviously, creativity is your direct connection to creator, source, to God. It's we are here to create. Earth, I believe, is like our biggest co-creation. We are co-creating with nature and the earth, and we need to stop believing these lies that the overculture has told us, that she's dying, that it's over. It's like there's a lot of demons and monsters who have been taking advantage of a lot of situations, and we're just at the limit of it. So getting back all of your intuitive faculties, and so that you can be a better collaborator with nature, with life, with humanity, with everything that is essential to me. And like I was saying, I thought I had my art, my performance over here, and then I thought I had my spiritual life over here, and then I realized it's the same thing. When I'm my most creative and it's flowing through me, it's like I just have to catch it. It's like it wants to come out. That's what David Lynch said too, you know. That's why he has such a rich internal life through meditation, and he talked about going out for the big fish in the deeper parts of the ocean. And that's what it takes. That, you know, you have to condition yourself and train your muscles for that deep imaginative place. And that is source, and it is endless, bottomless, fathomless. It's amazing. You just have to be the channel. You have to sit down, show up, do the work, and it comes out. It comes out. You just hold on. Number 10, being an artist is not about doing. It's a way of seeing and being. And so this is like, you know, I've just over my life as an artist, I really believe this to be true. I say it all the time. It's like, it's a way of seeing the world, seeing the magic, seeing the interconnection, seeing that it comes through us and has infinite expressions, how there's no limits on it. You know, my dedication to feeling freedom, being naked in nature, saying what I want, laughing, making jokes, without turning in on myself, and like knowing that it all comes from love and everything's okay, and having a really big bandwidth, you know. So it's not just what I do as an artist. It's literally like how I am and how I see the world, which then I share. I share a different way of seeing and being. That's what real artists do. And that's how the culture changes. We want healthy, organic, free-range culture. Culture is the soil our consciousness grows in. It's the dream material that allows us to reach for different, for new, for exciting, for unusual. Number 11, this is the last one. Experience life as a living work of art. So this is related to number 10, but it's like your life is your art. So you don't have to want to be an artist to benefit from doing this. It's everyone is here to create. Everyone. I don't care if you put your creative energy into fixing up cars or fixing up electronic stuff or whatever it is. There's an art and a craft to everything. And because being an artist is a way of seeing and being, it's like you can be a Zen ninja and work at the gas station. How you do one thing is how you do everything. That's how I was with dog walking. I was like, I'm going to be the best dog walker that ever was. I'm going to be a Zen ninja of dog walkers, and now I speak dog. So your life is the work of art. If you take your creativity seriously, you will realize that's a spiritual practice. And maybe you don't even realize that you're hungry for spiritual practices or spiritual experiences, I should say, to experience yourself as this infinite, beautiful creator with an innocent, childlike soul who just loves what it loves because it loves it. And then maybe you can be the kind of person that prioritizes that soul getting what it wants, making it happy, fulfilling the energy, the dreams, the desires of our purest heart. It's a beautiful thing. It's like pick up where you left off, where you gave up in childhood, where you were shut down, where it all just became too much and you were just like, oh, I'll just like escape X, Y, with X, Y, and Z instead of doing that anymore, being vulnerable anymore, before just being myself anymore. I'll never do that again. I mean, it's no way to live. And more, I can't even be around it because I'm just like, guys, it's not what I see. It's not what I know. I know how I got there. It's this book and it's really actually fun. I don't know why you don't do it. I don't know why. I really don't. I mean, it's there when you're ready, y'all. So if you've done it, why don't you leave some comments and let me know what you got out of the book, if you felt that way. I will say it's also like a populist book. Like I do think it's kind of written for muggles, but I'm a populist at heart too. I really appreciate that she wrote something so accessible. So some of it seemed a little pedestrian to me when I did it. And of the exercises every week, I maybe did 75% of them. Not all of them resonated. But I didn't care. The amount that I got out of the book was like amazing. And she writes it broadly, so it's kind of like, I guess it feels like not so cool sometimes and kind of nerdy and a little too woo woo and like, just like, you're like, yeah. But really it even if you resist the woo, you should be writing in your morning pages and processing what that's about. Why don't you believe? Like articulate your thoughts, get them down, get a shape around your thoughts so you can take better actions, so you can be more discerning. Like a writing practice was huge. I will just wrap this up by talking about one of the other main tools. So first tool is the morning pages. Second tool is the artist date. Third tool I would say is like all the writing prompts and the activities for each week. Regarding the second one, the artist dates. It was kind of hard for me the way that it was framed in the book, but what wound up happening when I did the book, I think it was the first time, you're supposed to take yourself on a date by yourself 1 or 2 hours every week, like not going to miss it. This is our time together doing a thing that you love, your inner child, makes your inner child happy. Once a week. And this seemed really hokey. And it was also really difficult for me because like I said, I was laid up in bed. But once I got better, I love going to the thrift store. As you guys know, I talk about it all the time. So I made a date with myself to go to get a ride to the thrift store every week. And I started picking out things and making what I was cultivating the picnic arts. And so I got a basket and I spent the week painting it. And then I would get like different things and start just decorating and making this very whimsical, crazy picnic setup. And it was very fun. And then I had picnics with friends and it just turned into this whole thing. And so like each week was really just somehow either getting ready for or having picnics. And that was my date. And so it wasn't totally always alone, but it became such a ritual and took on a life of its own. I will say that 9 years later, like even recently, you know, I've been trying to get my splits back. And so I've started making a date with myself once a week where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do my own stretching, but I'm doing this video and working this half hour on my splits in this way consistently, you know, for 2 months. I'm like, I'm going to really stick to it. And so that's become like a really enjoyable thing for me, even though it's really intense and I have to like be like, okay, I'm showing up. But then I'm like in it. I'm like, oh my God, look at me. I'm almost close to my splits again and I'm 50. Ha ha ha, ha, yay. And it's so happy and joyful. And I'm like, that's been my date with myself. And so I kind of make things into dates that aren't even dates because I'm just in a habit of celebrating my successes, finding the play, finding the joy, and taking all the joy and being like, yes, that's for you. Take all that joy from that. And so that's like part of the practice that just gets some momentum, you know, once you get this crap out of the way. So I am considering leading a group through this in like a private thing. I'm trying to figure out what platform to do it on. Because I really, if I do it, you know, I'm going to look at if my schedule, make sure that I can commit to it because I'd like to do it again myself. But I will take you all along with it and expand a lot because this will be my 3rd time through it. And also I'm just a seasoned artist, you know, with a lot of experience and insight into stuff. So if you're interested in that, let me know. If you've done the artist way, also let me know. I think it's just a funny thing. So I hope this video helped because I've literally been thinking about making it for a very long time because I see the resistances in people I know and I just want to give you all the encouragement to set them aside and make some new habits. It's really worth it. Okay, more soon.